This is Tomo News for Thursday, April 20th.
Taiwan is the first Asian nation to ban cat and dog meat. Around the world, cats and dogs are considered to be humanity's most faithful companions. That's not the case in many parts of Asia, where millions of our furry friends often end up as food. Fortunately, there's at least one Asian country who gets it. On April 11th, Taiwan passed legislation that will ban the consumption of dog and cat meat and level offenders with heavy fines for variations of all violations. For instance, penalties for animal slaughter and cruelty have now been raised to up to 2 years in prison that come with fines of up to nearly $66,000 US. Fancy the taste of dog or cat meat? Well, eating them can now earn offenders fines between about $1,600 and $8,200. The same fines are handed out for the selling of dog and cat meat. So really, how much is it worth to you? Not only do those who refuse to adhere to the law get slapped with fines, but their names and photos may be publicized to give their reputations a beating too. Dog meat in particular is consumed in places like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, the Philippines, and northern India. The plight of the dogs is especially bad in South Korea, where Humane Society International reports roughly 2 million of them are kept and killed for their flesh. But the worst place in the world to be a dog? China, a country responsible for roughly 1/3 of the 30 million dogs slaughtered annually worldwide. 4 million cats suffer the same fate every year in China as well. But attitudes are changing, with more people deciding to adopt these animals as pets and even treat them like kids, rather than have children of their own. In 2013, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand agreed to work together to stop the trafficking of dogs for meat. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen is widely known to be an animal lover, owning 2 cats and having adopted 3 retired guide dogs last year. As far as consideration for the rights of other animals go, Taiwan's new laws are a major indication of progressive leadership, no matter how you slice it. Loyal dog tries to revive friend run over by car. If you think you're a loyal friend, this dog in China may bring you to shame. On April 17th, after bearing witness to his friend being struck by a vehicle on a busy city street in Zhejiang, the faithful pooch did everything he could to wake his fallen pal. As this tragic video clip shows, the dog tries feverishly to jolt his friend to life. He looks around to see if anyone else might come to their aid, but sadly, no one does. Not knowing what else to do, as cars continue to drive by and honk, he stands and waits in the freezing rain, unwilling to leave his friend's side. After waiting in the wet street for half an hour, the dog's owner finally comes by to drag the injured pooch to the side of the road. She calls for help, but it appears to be too late. Though a tearful goodbye, we can only hope to have such a friend by our side to the very end.
Muslim shows off arsenal of weapons outside Christian conference. A Muslim American has stirred up controversy after filming himself with a car full of weapons just outside a Christian conference in South Dakota. The man showed up wearing a shirt that said, "I am an American, I am Muslim, I open carry and conceal carry. I am only dangerous if you are stupid." He live-streamed the event while holding a Quran until a security guard told him filming wasn't allowed. When asked his name, the man replied he was the Muslim John Smith and walked out.
What is your name?
My name is John Smith.
Back in his car, the man went back on Facebook Live and launched into a profanity-laced rant complaining about the event. He challenged people to be scared as he pulled out a bunch of handguns, an AK-47, AR-15, and a couple boxes of ammo. Rant and show and tell done, the gun-crazy dude finally drove off. As you might expect, the Christians felt thoroughly threatened and called the cops on the guy. He was questioned by police who chose not to press charges since he technically didn't break any laws. Still, the Christians aren't having it, claiming something bad could have happened to the 500 people in attendance if the guy's potential attack hadn't been thwarted by the hero security guard. No. The man was being an offensive asshat, definitely, but an actual terrorist wouldn't have warned anyone he was armed. Come on, America, can't we all just get along?
Former NFL star found dead in prison. The troubled life of former NFL star and convicted murderer Aaron Hernandez came to an end on Wednesday, after the ex-New England Patriots tight end was found hanged in his prison cell. On June 14, 2013, Aaron Hernandez and semi-pro football player Odin Lloyd were seen arguing in a Boston nightclub. 3 days later, Hernandez and 2 other men picked up Lloyd from his Massachusetts home. That night, Hernandez is believed to have confronted Lloyd about the argument. Hours later, a jogger found Lloyd's body riddled with 6 bullets in an industrial park 1 mile from Hernandez's home. On April 15, 2015, Hernandez was convicted of murdering Lloyd. In the early hours of Wednesday, Hernandez's body was found hanged by a bedsheet tied to his cell window. The Bible verse John 3:16 was written across his forehead. Hernandez was pronounced dead at 4:07 a.m., only 2 years into his sentence of life in prison. Just 5 days earlier, Hernandez was acquitted of double murder charges stemming from a separate July 2012 drive-by shooting incident in Boston's South End. Given the timing, the circumstances surrounding Hernandez's apparent suicide are mysterious, and his lawyer is calling for a thorough and transparent investigation. Hernandez's former agent Brian Murphy believes there was no chance Hernandez took his own life. Coincidentally, on the day of his death, a number of Hernandez's former teammates appeared at the White House to celebrate their most recent Super Bowl win. The Patriots have declined to comment on the situation. As of now, it does not appear that Aaron Hernandez left a suicide note. He was 27 years old.
What in the world? A man in southwestern China who was experiencing constipation decided to put an eel in his anus to help him go to the John. Yeah, you heard that right. He stuck a slippery eel up his butthole. When 49-year-old Mr. Liu from Guangzhou sought help to flush out his clogged-up digestive system, doctors told him he needed to stay at the hospital. But instead, the guy took matters into his own hands. Relying on some ancient Chinese method for clearing out backed-up plumbing works, he shoved an eel into his anus. Surprise, surprise, though, the trick didn't work. In fact, it made the situation worse, and Mr. Liu was rushed back to the hospital. Doctors examined Liu's abdominal area and found a hole in his duodenum. They were also quite shocked to find the eel in his intestines. Fortunately, the doctors were able to remove the 1.5-foot-long Asian swamp eel, which by this point was dead. They also discovered that Liu's body was backed up with a whole lot of Surgeons said Mr. Liu initially didn't explain what was causing his stomach pain. However, after they discovered the eel, Liu claimed it went up his poop chute by accident. After surgery, Liu admitted to the doctors that he put the slippery fish inside his anus in an attempt to treat his constipation. He's now recovering in the hospital. Take a look at Russia's new Arctic military base. The Russian Defense Ministry has released a virtual tour of the country's new Arctic military base. Russia's new military base has been built on Alexandra Land, an island in the Franz Josef Land archipelago in the Arctic Ocean. The 14,000 square meter base is built on stilts, which are designed to help it withstand extreme cold weather. The base will house 150 personnel on an 18-month period of duty. It is also equipped with a clinic, library, chapel, gym, and cinema. Military experts say the new base will help Russia to control international shipping on the Northern Sea Route and protect the country's oil and gas resources in the Arctic. Russian President Vladimir Putin visited the new base last month. The country is building 4 more military bases in the Arctic region. The 2017 British general election explained. The UK will hold a surprise election this June. British Prime Minister Theresa May led calls for one earlier this week, and lawmakers voted in favor of the ballot on Wednesday. But why was it unexpected? UK law stipulates that each elected government should hold power for a fixed 5-year term before another election can occur. The current Conservative administration was elected in May 2015, with the next public ballot scheduled for May 2020. For an early election to occur, 2/3 of the 650 UK lawmakers need to vote in favor of it. On Wednesday, 522 voted for it to go ahead. The unelected May took over from ex-PM David Cameron after the public voted for Brexit in a referendum last June. She hopes the election will give her a mandate and nullify post-Brexit vote divisions among the British electorate. But the move could cripple the already unpopular opposition Labour Party, led by Jeremy Corbyn. The parliament consists of 650 seats, of which Conservatives hold 330 and Labour holds 229. Other seats are held by smaller parties. And because of Labour's unpopularity, May and the Conservatives are expected to win even more seats. But hey, the bookies were wrong about Trump and Brexit, and there's every chance they could be wrong about this as well.
But it is with